All right, so here we are with a new lesson. We are going to look at this question here. So this is a quadratic and says no real solution. So please make sure that you remember these rules. So this equal to 0, no solution. The condition is, so here we have kx squared minus 56x plus 16 equal to 0, no solution. B squared minus 4ac. So take that 4k thing to the other side. So we will have 56 times 56 less than 64k, or in other words, k is bigger than, so k is bigger than 49, and k is an integer. The least possible value therefore would be 50. Okay, let's go to the next one. So now this is the function. They're saying for which of the values of k will fk equals 3k. So fk would be, in this case, absolute value of 59 minus 2k, that's equal to 3k. So we'll remove the absolute values and put a plus minus in front. That's the standard way of solving. So plus minus 59 minus 2k equals 3k. So we will have once for the positive side, once for the negative side. Make sure you wrap it in brackets here, otherwise that would end up being misleading, right? So for this one, we have 5k equals 59. So k would be 59 upon 5. And here we will have negative 59 plus 2k equals 3k. So that would give us k equals negative 59. Now, once you have this, as a rule, you must always plug in these values in the main equation that we have here and cross-check whether it satisfies or not. So if you plug in 59 over 5, the left-hand side will be a positive constant, so that's fine. The right-hand side will also be positive because k is positive, right? So that means there is no problem with this. The only problem happens sometimes is when the left-hand side becomes positive, the right-hand side becomes negative. There is a change of sign. Otherwise, there is no problem, okay? So if you plug in negative 59 here, clearly you can see the right left-hand side, because it's inside absolute values, it will be positive only. But the right-hand side will now become negative. So a positive cannot be equal to a negative. So this is not a valid solution. So there is only one solution, 59 over 5. So we will have option A. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So we have root of 2x plus 6 equals, take the 4 that side, x minus 1. We'll just simply square it. We can easily square it and solve it out, or we can just plug in the answer choices from here and then check. So this will have either two solutions or one solution, because when you square it, it will become a quadratic, right? So it does not have three solutions. So that's D is already out, not possible. It lists down three values. Now, if you look at all of these, it's either 5 twice or negative 1 twice, right? Let's just start with one of them. Say we have x equals negative 1. So if I plug in that on the left-hand side, it becomes root of negative 2 plus 6. So that's negative 4. So that is 2. Mind it, the square root always, output of the square root is always the positive root. It's never minus 2. Okay, never the negative root. But here, the right-hand side, x minus 1, however, now becomes minus 1, minus 1, minus 2. They are not the same. So minus 1 does not satisfy. So A is out, C is out. The answer has to be B. There is no other alternative. Okay. Just to verify it once, if you plug in 5, the left-hand side becomes 16, which is 4. The right-hand side becomes 5 minus 1, which is also 4. They are equal, so it's right. Let's go on to the next one. So here it says that the graph of the function is defined as fx is negative half x minus 4 whole squared plus 10. That's your fx. So clearly from here, the vertex coordinates would be negative 4. So it becomes 4 plus 10. So it's 10 is the vertex. So this peak point here, as you can see clearly, it is 4, 10. That's the vertex. Now it says that if the function is defined by the new function g, x, is minus x plus 10. They're asking for one value of a such that f of a equal to g of a. Okay. So what we have to basically do is just solve them. They're asking for one solution. Fa would be negative half a minus 4 whole squared plus 10 equal to g of a, which is negative a plus 10. The 10 is gone. Now, when you have both sides now just like minus half times something equals negative. So the negative sign will cancel out. And if I just were to take the 2 that side, you will end up with a minus 4 whole squared equals 2a. Expanding it, a squared minus 8a plus 16 equals 2a. So a squared minus 10a plus 16 is 0. So factorize this 8 and 2. So the value of a would therefore be 2 or 8. We are saying one possible value, so you can answer either of the two. Any one of them is fine. All right. Let's go to the next question. The population of a certain city y years after the last census is modeled by the equation below. All right, that's the equation. Where r is a constant, p0 is the population when y is 0. Okay. So during this time, the population increases by a fixed percentage each year. Which of the following must be true? So if you are increasing by a fixed percentage every year, so for example, say 10%, okay, every year. So then 10% basically means what? 0.1. So if you have initial value of P0 as the first initial population, then after 1 year, P1 would be P0 times 1 plus 10 over 100, right? Which is like the zero point 0.1 which we discussed, right? So that would be P0 times 1.1. Or we can just write it like this, 1 added to 0.1. P2 would then be P0 1 plus 10 over 100 squared because that's 2 years, right? Y years after. So 2 years after it would be squared. So that would be P0 times 1 plus zero point 0.1 whole square. So if you look at this R, this is your R. If it were 40%, it would be 0.4. If it were 50%, it would be 0.5 and so on. Okay. Now here it is saying that the population decreases by a fixed percent. Okay. So if it is decreasing, so that's minus 10%. So it would be minus 0.1. So that means here, instead of writing plus, the only change that we will do is put a minus sign. Okay. So that means here now the R becomes minus 0.1, minus 0.2, minus 0.3 like that, depending on what percentage you are going to put. Remember that R cannot be negative 100 because then that would mean the population becomes 0, which is like unlikely, right? Not possible. So the value of R would be a decimal value, a fractional value between 0 and minus 1. So the value of R is between 0 and minus 1. So that is option B. Okay, R's value is minus 0.1, right? So the only option where it fits in is the second. Let's go to the next question. So fx is 5470 times 0.64 to the power x by 12. Okay, that's x by 12. So just to write it down, fx is 5470 times 0.64 raised to x over 12. And x is the number of months of use. The value decreases every year by p%. They're asking what is the value of p. Okay. So in order to reduce the value by p% every year, that means x must be 12. So if I plug in x as 12, I am going to get fx is 5470 times 0.64 to the power 1, which basically boils down to fx equals 5470 times 1 minus 0.36. Like how much less than 1 is that? 0.36 less, right? That means that decrease is going to be 36%, right? If there is a p% decrease, that means we are going to do what? 1 minus p over 100, right? So this p over 100 thing is that 0.36. So what is p? 36%. So we have the third option. Let's go on to the next question. So this is a constant equation where b is a constant and we have factorized it like this. They are integer values. So we are saying that 4x squared plus bx minus 45 is the same as hx plus k times x plus j. So if I were to compare for the x squared term, this side you have 4 and this side you will get x squared only by multiplying these two. So that would be h. That's number one. For the constant term, you have negative 45. On that side, the constant term will be obtained by multiplying k and j. So equals k times j. At this point, these two are observable values, right? At this point, if you just take a look at these options, check the options. They are saying which of the following is an integer. See, we haven't yet figured out what b is, but if you look at this, 45 over h is 4, right? So this value is basically 45 over 4, which is not an integer. But this one, from this logic that 45 is k times j, 45 over k, from here we will get negative 45 divided by k equals j, or in other words, 45 over k equals negative j. So this is negative j. And it's mentioned clearly h, k, j are integers. So that means negative j is an integer definitely, right? So we don't really need to check A and B because we have got already one option which is an integer for sure. The other two therefore cannot be an answer as well. Let's go to the next question. So they're saying this is u minus 3 equals 6 over t minus u. What is t? So since they're asking you for the value of t, the first thing we need to do is get the t from the denominator and take it up to the numerator, right? So we take reciprocal on both sides and we get 1 over u minus 3 equals t minus 2 over 6. Now it's very easy. Get that 6 out of the way from the t side, right? So multiply both sides by 6. T minus 2 would be 6 over u minus 3. You don't want the 2 with t, right? We just need to separate it out. So we have t equals 6 over u minus 3 plus 2. So t becomes u minus 3, 6 plus 2u minus 6. So it's 2u upon u minus 3. So that would be the fourth option. It is not showing clearly, but then that is basically the answer that we have. Just, yeah, 2u over u minus 3. That's the answer that we were looking for. Alternative way of solving this is just plug in some value here. Say you plug in t as 1, then we get u minus 3 equals 6 over negative 1. So u equals negative 3. Just plug in u as negative 3 in each of them and check which one gives you 1. So this one clearly does not. Negative 3 here becomes 3 over negative 3. So that's negative 1. We need 1, right? For t. So that's not. 1 over u minus 3 is 1 over negative 6. So that's not the correct one either. This is negative 6 by negative 6. So that is equal to 1. Satisfying, right? So that's a safe way of doing this. If you don't want to work on so many algebraic operations, you can just plug in a value and verify from the answer choices which one matches. All right, let's go to the next one. So here we have x squared over, so let's x squared over root of something equals c squared over root of something. Let's get all of them to the same side. So that gives us x squared over this minus this. So we have, so now if you think of x squared minus c squared as some k, okay, so basically what you have is k over root of k. If I were to assume k is root of, so k is a squared minus c squared, okay. So k over root k is clearly k to the power 1 minus half. So it's basically half. So k is also root k, right? So from here, what we have is root of x squared minus c squared equals 39. Square both sides. X squared minus c squared is 39 squared. So they're saying find a solution to this. So x squared would be c squared plus 39 squared. That would give us x to be either the positive root or the negative. So the negative one is present here in option number 4. The fourth option is the correct answer. All right, let's go to the next question. The xy plane, the vertex of the parabola is 9, negative 14. Okay. They intersect the axis at 2 points as well. So the vertex is somewhere here. The graph could have been like this or like this. It has to intersect the x-axis twice. So it must be facing upwards, open upwards. So something like this. And the vertex here is 9, negative 14. Now we don't know what the position of the y-axis is. Okay, so that's kind of not relevant either. So let's just remove that. Okay, so this is what your graph looks like at this point. Now the equation is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And they're asking for a plus b plus c. In one of my previous videos in this series, I had told you that sum of the coefficients is basically the value of y when x is 1. If you were to put x as 1 here, you will get y to be a plus b plus c. Now, since the vertex is 9, 14, negative 14, from here I can write y to be a x minus 9 squared minus 14. Right? Here, if I were to plug in x as 1, the y value that I will get is basically this value only, right? Because they are after all the same equation. Because we want to find a plus b plus c. So I'm just going to plug in here x equal to 1 and see y what we get. 1 minus 9 squared minus 14. So that's 8 squared, 64a minus 14. So that is what we get as y. And this is basically what we have as a plus b plus c. So what we have got till now is that this a plus b plus c is nothing but 64a minus 14. The advantage of doing this is instead of 3 unknowns ABC, now we have only 1 unknown to bother about, right? Only a. And from this graph, given this shape, we know that a is positive. So we just need to check for which of these values is the, like, for which of these values of 64a minus 14, these options, is a coming out to be positive. So let's try that. I'm just showing it here. So 64a minus 14 is negative 23. So from here, what we get is a is negative. 64a minus 14 is negative 19. Again, 64a would be negative 5, so a is negative. 64a minus 14 is negative 14. A comes out to be 0. It's not possible. Then it's not a quadratic at all. Has to be the fourth option then. 64a minus 14 is negative 12. So 64a is 2 and you will get a positive value of a. So that is our correct answer that we were looking for, option D. The clue here is whenever you see something mentioned about the vertex, just jump and use the vertex form. Okay. Don't stick to the old form. Okay. That would simplify your work a lot if you use the vertex form. Let's go to the next question. So you have got a set of values of x and y, and they're saying which of the following is a factor. To be a factor for any value of x, whenever y is 0, the value of x is a factor. So y is 0 is here and here. So x has minus 1 and x has 2. That means your factors must have been x plus 1 times x minus 2. That's what you had solved. So they're saying which of the following must be a factor. So x plus 1 times x minus 2. So that is option D. Let's go to the next one. So you have a quadratic. Again, they're asking some of the solutions. Okay, so let's open it up. Distribute x squared plus x minus 56 is 4x squared minus 28x. Get all the x's, x squares and everything, all that to one side. So x squared, x goes on this side. So, and form a quadratic, right? Basically, get everything to one side, like a quadratic equation. So when x squared goes to the right, it's 4x squared minus x squared. So 3x squared. When x goes to the right, it's minus x. So it would be minus 29x plus 56 equal to 0. Sum of the solutions, we have discussed this. The sum of the solutions is negative b over a. So here, the sum of the solutions, therefore, would be negative of negative 29 over 3. So that's 29 by 3. Okay, let's go to the next one. The quadratic f is graphed in the xy plane and its vertex is minus 3, 6. Okay, so let's quickly write that down. Fx is ax plus 3 squared plus 6. Now it's saying that one of the x-intercepts is this. What is the other x-intercept? So if you look at the graph, we don't have to do much. One of the x-intercepts, negative 17 over 4. The line of symmetry of the vertex here passes through minus 3, comma something. This and this must be the same. So if the other root were t, the other x-intercept, so we have negative 17 by 4 plus t upon 2 is negative 3. Simplify, negative 17 over 4 plus t is negative 6. So t is 17 over 4 minus 6. So that's minus 7 over 4. So minus 7 over 4, comma 0. That's the second option. All right, let's go to the next one. So here it says PT is 290 times 1.04. So PT is 290 times 1.04 to the power 4t over 6. Okay. So it models in thousands the population of a city t years after 2005. So the reference value is t equal to 0 means the year 2005 itself. It increases by n percentage 18 months. Now it is in years, it is in months. 18 months means what? How many years? 18 by 12. So 3 over 2 years. Okay. So if I were to plug in t as 3 over 2, that would be 1.04 times 4 over 6 times 3 over 2. So that would be 290 times 1.04 to the power 1. So that means there's a 4% increase. So they're saying the population increases by n%. What is n? So n is 4%. N is not 1.04%. Okay, so be careful about that. Don't make a mistake there. So it's just 4% increase. Option C. Let's go to the next one. So we have a function f0 is 86. And for each increase of x by 1, fx decreases by 80%. So this is clearly a exponential series, right? Where it looks like this. Fx is a times 0.2 to the power x. See, why did I write that? See, decreasing by 80% means what is left? 20% is left. So that means after every increase of x by 1, you will be left with 20%. So if I, let's say, have f0, see, if this is the case, f0 is a, f1 would be 0.2a, so that's 80% decrease. F2 would be zero point 0.2 squared a. So that's basically 0 0.2a times 0 0.2. So that means from here to here, there is again 80% decrease. So that means it is decreasing by 80% every time it increases, x increases by 1. Okay. So they're saying what is the value of f2 given f0 is 86. So now plug in from here. If I plug in f0, I'm gonna get a times 0.2 to the power 0. So that's a. So a equals 86. Therefore, my function is now fx is 86 times 0.2 to the power x. Okay. So this is times. So they are saying f of 2 would be 86 times 0.2 squared. So that's 86 times 0.04. So that would be 3.44. So that is our answer, the value of f2. All right, let us stop here. We'll continue with another video with the remaining set of questions. Thanks for watching.